Great. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for joining us today for another edition of our cybersecurity mentoring group. Cybersecurity mentoring group is a platform where we share, we learn, and we connect with professionals. Particularly, we invite professionals that have been there and have done that to share their journey with us. And today, as we would always do, we've invited someone to come share experience and also talk over a topic that we think is important for people who are either in the journey or want to transition into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is important, and I believe that is one of those fields that you would always have around. There's always need in almost every sector, particularly because of the importance of how we will be operating in the new age, this age, where computer is the way of life and almost everything is connected to the superhighway. And because of that premise, we will need people who have good minds and who would like to protect us from people who would like to take advantage of us. And the more people we have in the field, the better for all of us. We have children that are now born and are called digital natives that wake up and sleep on computer. What is their fate in the future? And so this is the field that I believe helps everyone to stay vigilant and also to protect organizations, even countries. And cybersecurity is now profiled as one of the most sought after profession in the world. Organizations and countries are rating cybersecurity as one of those fields that they have even created some kind of visa for attracting people from all over the world because of the importance of this field. In the past, it was about how much power you have in terms of military force. In the future, it will not be a physical war. It's about information war. And the number of cybersecurity professionals who are out there to defend and protect the country will determine who wins the race. And I welcome you again today. And I hope that you have a good time joining us and listening to our guest. But before we unveil our guest for today, which I believe you must have seen through the invitation, I would like to talk about our beginner cybersecurity masterclass, which is currently ongoing. We, in fact, have had completed our second domain today. So we are going to the third domain on Thursday, and it's been quite interesting. We believe that anyone that wants to start the journey in cybersecurity needs to at least have a starting point. And this beginners cybersecurity masterclass, we believe that it's one of that engine that will propel anyone who desire a career in cybersecurity. It's just foundational security principles, access controls, network security, security operations, and business continuity. We've completed security principles, and today we finished network security. By Thursday, we'll be going into access control concepts. And we've had quite good attendance rate, and we're about 70 in the class. Our attendance is going to about 80%, which I think is a fair it's a fair rate. We're seeing how we can encourage people to improve on that rate. The second thing I would like to share is just looking at how far we have gone this year from January to this time. And I think we have done quite good. We've invited different people from different industry and some also outside of Nigeria. And you can catch everything here on our YouTube channel, which you will find at the end of this presentation. So you can look for something that is interesting to you and then spend an hour to just listening and catch up with whatever you may have missed in the past, in case you are joining us for the first time. So the next item here is about a project we are currently working on. Have some volunteers that are working on a publication we would want to make, and I believe it will be of great blessing to people in the community. It's about CISOs in Nigerian financial service sector. I will not bail the cat on the things we're looking at. I will just ask you to stay expectant and watch out for what we have in the bag for you. All right, let's talk. Let me go to our guest for today. So first, as I always say, I spend some time on LinkedIn, look for people that I believe have something and we can learn from. I'm always looking for how we can get enough information for people in our community, the cybersecurity mentoring group, and particularly people that I think that they can get starters well started. So I reached out to Kolade, and generous with his time. We also spoke on the phone, and he was happy to come share some thoughts that I believe will be useful for everyone today. So Kolade will be sharing a little about his journey into cybersecurity, and I want you to pick some motivation from his story. And then we'll be looking at the topic for today. Sometimes people say, don't listen to what other people are saying about you. But in cybersecurity, it is called intelligence. You have to mind other people's business, particularly the business of management. In cybersecurity, you are as good as the commitment of your management. And what management say can determine whether you will be successful in your cybersecurity journey. And so that's what we'll be unpacking. And Kolade will be sharing from his experience and what he thinks that cybersecurity professionals should know, what management thinks of cybersecurity professional and cybersecurity as a discipline. So please welcome today our guest, Kolade Alonge, the Head Information Security of AXA Mansard. Kolade, welcome, and we're happy to have you today.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for having me, Wale, and thank you for the opportunity to be here again. No, not again, the first time now. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah, that's great. And
All right.
it's good to see everyone here. Thank you for having me today.
Excellent. I think we should get started because we want to get as much as possible from you today. And when I shared when I shared this flyer on my status, two people that are familiar with you reached out to me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they reached out to me. I said, I know this man. Yeah, I said, yeah, we hunt for the best to get the best out of them. All right. So today we want to, so like I told you, we have people in our community that are on that decision path to joining cybersecurity. And I believe that apart from the things that they have heard, so they have heard from people who I call security entrepreneurs, who are probably selling courses, and I've told them cybersecurity is the next big thing, come into cybersecurity, which again is also the next big thing. But I want us to learn from your experience in terms of your journey into cybersecurity, as much information as you are comfortable sharing, the roles that you have held in the past, that your maybe some qualification, education, professional and professional certifications, and all of that you think have been part of that progress that eventually landed you a role in cybersecurity.
Okay, I would make it brief as much as I can. It's a long story, but let me start this way. My journey has not been very direct when it comes to information security or cybersecurity now, because of course, while I was in the university, that was actually when I knew what I wanted to do. Right, I was just there. I think maybe 300 or 400 level. My university, the university I spent 5 years. Okay, it's a 5 year course for computer science. At the time, we didn't have cybersecurity as a course. All right. Don't guess my age. I'm not that old. Okay, don't think I'm that old. All right. But then, of course, we've been here for quite some time. So while I was at the university, I wanted to study. Of course, I was studying computer science, but I wanted to take it further to do something relating to robotics and all of that. I'm from a very, very humble background. And so I knew that I might not really be able to afford that. However, what I really wanted to do, I thought the expression I needed could actually be found in as a robotic engineer, because I really just wanted a situation where I can implement controls where things can go in order. If I could not create my own human beings, I could create robots that would do what I wanted them to do. All right, that was what I had in mind. That was the dream I had in mind. I remember a friend of mine would always joke that he would have finished giving birth to all his children before I ever make the hand of a robot. Here I am. I'm not making robots. I am actually I'm building something that is bigger. I'm building humans. I'm building systems that is resilient, all right, against attacks. And I'm happy with what I do. All right. And so along the line, I had to speak to a counselor, and then he mentioned something in line with network security. I didn't take it that serious because I really didn't understand. Then it was new in Nigeria until a particular time I went to for a program in a university, and that was in University of Ibadan. All right, I didn't school in University of Ibadan. But I went there, and then there was a program that was being held by EC Council, and the person that was facilitating said there were over 1,000 holes into a system that is connected on a computer to a network, and I was shocked. I first of all looked at it physically. What ports do we have to a system? And then he began to talk about those things, and that was what actually, fascinated my interest into cybersecurity. And then I began to investigate and understood that okay, when he was talking about these doors, he was talking about ports into the system, talking about services and all of that. That really actually was what took my interest. And when I finished my final year project, I did something different from what every other person was doing. If you were probably schooled at the same period I schooled, most of the people at their final year as a computer science student, you want to build an application, you want to build something and all of that. What I did as my own final year project was different. I actually hacked into my school network and a couple of other higher institution network. That was my project. And I presented that to my supervisor. It was interesting. He loved it because it was something different. And I built a locally made antenna. Then I founded a kind of thing too. We talk about war diving, war chalking and all of that. And I came up with something that is called war steaming then, all right. I since left that. Maybe that is why it's not that popular. But maybe no, not steaming. I think war steering. Yes, that's the word. Where you do that, of course, while on water, something in that regard. But maybe someday I would still come up with further write-ups on that. All right, that said, that was how I began my journey. My first job was as an auditor, right? Because then, like I said, there was no particular sector that talked about cybersecurity. Maybe there was, but it wasn't that popular. So the first job I landed was as an IT auditor, and the first question I was asked is, "What did you do in your final year? Come and do." And then when I told the MD, then he said, "Okay, come and do the same thing, join the audit team." Fortunately, when I finished, all I did, I was pushed back to the IT team to go and implement the same exceptions I actually raised. And so from there, I journeyed into IT, did a couple of IT support here and there for one of the best organizations, all right, in Nigeria at the time. I believe it's still one of the best. And then moved around a couple of audits here and there. And then I got an opportunity to come fully back into IT, information security. Now, of course, audit is in a way, there's a part of audit that speaks to cybersecurity. IT support also, while we talk about security being second line of defense, you as an IT support person or IT who is at the first line, of course, there's a level of control you also implement at your level and all of that. At some point, worked as a cyber administrator, tried some things on cyber hardening and all of that, which is in a way related to cybersecurity and all. And so in 2000 and I think 16 or 17, that was when I came fully back into cybersecurity. I had the opportunity and I began to grow my career in cybersecurity. All right. And then it's been very wonderful. Of course, here and there, I digress again, move to third line of defense, work as an IT auditor, come back into cybersecurity and all of that. But eventually, I am here. I'm enjoying it here. It's something I want to do for the rest of my career days. All right. It's really, really been wonderful, and it's a great journey. Has the journey been without pains, without concerns? That would be a great lie. Has the journey been without sometimes getting the right gratification for the job? That would be a great lie. So what drives me is not necessarily the money that I get out of it. It's actually the fact that this is what I desire. This is where I find joy. This is where I find fulfillment. This is where I find happiness, and that is what drives me in my world of cybersecurity. Thank you.
Thanks, Kolade. Interesting. It appears that the journey to cyber for some people is a straight line.
Yeah.
And possibly there are people on the call that are saying, well, I didn't study computer science. Kolade studies computer science. So now that I didn't study computer science, how do I get into that path that was able to get Kolade into cybersecurity? What do you have to tell people that have those contemplations?
Well, cybersecurity is open to all. I can tell you for free that the fact that I studied computer science in school is not the reason for which I'm studying. I'm sorry, I'm a cybersecurity professional today. Yes, I studied computer science, but most of the things they taught me in school, me as a person in the school I went, I'm not using them today. Okay, I had to go back and I wrote a couple of certifications. I started with, I think I wrote Security Plus. I wrote CCNA Security. Of course, you won't find that in my on my LinkedIn profile today. CCNA Security, Security Plus, some other certifications here and there. Right. I at some point wrote Certified Ethical Hacker. Right. That was one of the very expensive programs I did then, because then and then that was it. And then not only that, I got help from a couple of people. There was a time I had a friend who had some materials in his laptop. Today a lot of things are very free. Then things were not as free as they are today. So I had to buy his laptop with the videos in his laptop. I had to save a lot of money. Not that I had the money, but when your will not allow you go to bed at night and sleep while others are sleeping, you just have to get everything you can as much as possible. So I saw this as an opportunity, and then I had to buy it from him. The laptop was bad, but the information in it was nice. So I had to just do that. So with so much study, certifications, and network, being in the network to the right kind of people with the right mind, I was able to navigate my way, and here I am today. I'm still making progress.
And thank you. So maybe my last question on this section is that from what you have said, from what you did in school and the effort you are putting into getting yourself here, it appears you are a self-driven person and you actually look for knowledge. How is that important to someone who is contemplating maybe cybersecurity is something that I should be looking at?
Well, that is the first thing. But the twist is that it's better you do it having a mentor to guide you. If I would talk about my journey, I didn't really have mentors to mentor me at my early years. And so I did a lot of things that were not relevant. I studied a lot of things. I went into a lot of things that would not be needed in my career path. So if you ask me, there was a time I used to tell people when I go for interviews that you see, you get one, you hire one, you get one free. because I used to be a mix of several things, but then I think it's better you go with it. Of course, curiosity is very important. The fact that you have to learn and grow, it's very, very important. But you need someone who has been there, who can then guide you on the path to go so that your journey would not be long for you to actually get to that, level in a short while. All right. I can cite an example. For example, where I work now, I work with a whole lot of interns within my team. All right. And the reason I am doing that is of course, sometimes it affects my work, the progress at which I'm supposed to achieve things. But at the same time, I am able to pour myself into these people. I'm able to guide them on the directions to go in life, how they can achieve what they should achieve in a quick time. I believe what has taken me 15 years to get to this point, I want them to be able to get to this point in 5 years or less if possible. And so I would be able to take away all the rubbish that I had learned by myself and help them focus and build skills in just those areas that are relevant for their areas. And some of the things I see, cybersecurity has different areas. So first thing I would advise you to do is let me know who you are, or your mentor, of course, know who you are, and then your personality. Your personality can help you to define the path you can take, in your cybersecurity career. I think I should just stop at that because there's a whole lot to say on that line as well.
Thank you so much. I think that's very helpful, and it is indeed true because at some point there was not too many information out there for cybersecurity, but today it is almost like everybody has a thought on cybersecurity, and it can be confusing. And one should not be unlucky to go and start feeding on the wrong information. That's why, again, thank you for your investment in the interns. And also that's why this community, I thought that is important to help people and guide people. Even LinkedIn as a whole, the opportunity it provides you to identify people who who are ahead, and you can go into their you can politely go into their DM and ask them questions. I think that opportunity is huge for people that are starting in that journey today. And I hope that people take advantage of it. There's a lot to learn. As Kolade said, there's a lot in the field, but you are better when you are guided so that you can focus on what's important. And that's why we started the cybersecurity, the beginners masterclass, at least to get people started on that journey. All right, going into our second section, which is so I said earlier that in cybersecurity, you don't mind your business. Particularly, you don't mind your business because not minding your business is the act of gathering intelligence. And the first question here is around why is it important for cybersecurity, for people like us on the call, to know what management or the business is thinking about us and about our profession?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I'll just answer this way, just give a couple of things. It's important that you know what management is the owner of the business. It is not you. So if their disposition towards you, what they think about you, it's very important because that will help you to strategize. It helps you to know how to come in. All right. Many of us sometimes, as security people, we tend to carry the work on our head. And because we carry the work on our head, we get to hit several brick walls. We go about things the wrong way. We get overzealous. So knowing what management thinks about us, it helps us to know how to integrate security into the business. That's the first thing. How do you integrate security into the business? How do you come in? Where do you need to come in? It's not in everything you should come in, I tell you. That's sincerely the truth. There are some things they don't want you to come into. There's some things that, yes, they know it's risky, but they will tell you we accept the risk. Yours is just to advise. But if you don't know how the management wants you to come in or what they think about you, that becomes a problem. You will still meeting several brick walls. They will laugh with you, but when you make proposals, nothing is going to be done. Another thing is that it helps you to know the company's risk appetite. I mentioned something about that earlier, and how they will be willing to invest in cybersecurity. If they think highly of cybersecurity, let me tell you, they will be willing to invest in it. If they think so low about cybersecurity, then they won't be willing to invest as much in it. They will just consider it, okay, let's just put it there so that, let's just have them there so that we will ask to, we'll tell them we have a cybersecurity team. All right. I remember an organization I worked with, they didn't have a cybersecurity team. I worked there as an auditor, and I saw a whole lot of things that were cyber security loopholes. I advised in the management in my report, come up with a cybersecurity team. I was actually willing to even move from being an auditor to into cybersecurity and start out the team and all of that. But they weren't willing until they got hacked. Afterwards, the last information I got about them, they now have a fully functional cybersecurity team. Unfortunately, he had left the organization at the time. So that is the price they get to pay. You see, so also it helps you to know, what to present to the management in your reporting. Some management, when you come around and wow them with the kind of risks you have been able to, the risks that are existing, what is happening in the world and all of that, they get excited, they want to invest. Some of them, they just want to know some basic things. They just want to be limited to their business. All right. So you need to know what they think of you, what they expect of you. That will also help you to give them what they want for you to be able to achieve mutual goals within the organization. And lastly, I will say that it will help you as a security professional as well to be able to channel your path. All right. For example, some people, they just want a security analyst to be there, and that's all they want you to do. They don't want you to grow in that career. So you know that if you are there and all they want you to be is a security analyst, you cannot grow to maybe the role of a CISO or maybe any other role that is higher up there. You know yourself, you know it. So what we used to be doing there in the next 5 years, 10 years in the same role. So it helps you to channel your career path. So it's very important for you to know what the management is going so that you can be profitable to the organization, you can have a fulfilled life, and you can also grow in your cybersecurity career.
This is great. I like the idea of the company risk appetite and particularly if a company is listed. I think one of the things I did when I was trying to go to one organization, the company is a listed organization. So I went to the Nigerian Stock Exchange NGS website, and I was able to download their annual report. In that annual report, I looked at their intention in terms of what they've documented, whether they have a cyber, those are things that people are proud to mention, that we have a cybersecurity team to tackle. Yeah. So I think that also will be helpful for you if you know that this is what they have or what they're planning to do. It can help you to know that this organization mentor. And I like the idea about your career path. As much as the organization is important, you are also equally important. And you don't leave your career in the hands of the organization. They have a lot of things to bother about. So you bother about your career. Okay, I will move on to the next question, which is as unmuted. What do you think, from what you have maybe you've seen over the years, what are the things you think they also say about cybersecurity and also the guys in cybersecurity? What are those things?
Okay, let me start by from the top from this point and say that one of the things they say is that cybersecurity is just there, is a good to have. Let's just have them. Some of them don't appreciate the value that cybersecurity brings. All right. And so they just say, okay, it's a good to have. Of course, maybe now, because of course, information is everywhere. People are hearing of this place being hacked, that place being hacked, and all of that. Maybe because of that, they might see cybersecurity more in a bigger light than that. But sometimes they just see them as these people are good to have. Let's put them at the back office. We can't bring them to our business meetings. And that's very, very poor, because eventually the business that you don't involve cybersecurity in, eventually you will still need a cybersecurity person to help you to do that business securely. So it's better you start with cybersecurity at the beginning. But many organizations don't see it that way. Just put them at the back office. It's when things are done and finalized that they bring security in, and that's not very good. And that thing they say is that it's just to meet regulatory requirements. For example, financial sector, the banks, you must have a CISO in the bank, and there is a grade that they must be at a minimum in that bank. You see, it's just so unfortunate that in other sectors we don't have that kind of strong regulation. And I think the reason for which bank has that is because of what they are dealing with. They're dealing with people's money. But now that we are looking at NDPR coming into play, I think that in every other sector that processes people's private information, personal information, the regulation will also, get to that point where they will insist on the grade level at which a CISO must have, and then the kind of the minimum team members that must be in the cybersecurity group team, so to speak. So that's another thing they get to say. Other things they say is that security is a money spender, so there's nothing to show for it. That's another funny, interesting thing to say, that these people, they will just come and tell you that, hey, there is one risk here, there is one risk there, want to catch that risk, want to stop that risk, we have spent so amount of thousands of dollars and all of that. So and then some of them see security people as people that come to put fear in them. They will come to scare us, and so because of that, they are always afraid to hear. Whenever a security person comes up, they are scared already. The fear is created, and those are some of the things they think. Another thing is that they see security as just pen tests. So some organizations, maybe for the startups, for example, they feel that let's just bring a pen tester in, or let's contract our security to one pen tester. Pen test organization that will come and do pen test on our applications, and we are good. But security is much bigger than pen test. Much bigger than pen test, but a whole lot of organizations still see it from that perspective, that yes, hacker, so let's hack ourselves first before we get hacked. That's what they try to say, and see how we can remediate and also. But cybersecurity is much bigger than that. All right. I love to call it information security, because information security contains everything about the information system. It looks at the people, it looks at the data, it looks at the system, it looks at the process. In every process, there must be a place for security in every process. All right. It's not just about the systems that are on the internet or on the internet or on the network. It also talks about the process that is first of all developed for the system to now be able to automate that process. So it actually, along the way, from the beginning to the end, is an end-to-end thing. All right. So those are the things I think they are saying.
Thank you. I think just to mention that point at regulatory requirement, it was actually a mixed blessing for some of my friends who work in either fintech or the bank,
Yeah.
and because CBN says you need a CISO, and the CISO must not report to the IT head of IT. In
Yeah.
fact, the cybersecurity framework of CBN clearly captures that the CISO must report to the MD.
Yeah.
So it gave some people that privilege to, it was one of my friends was telling me about one guy that really that was a blessing to him. They just had to move him up the scale because that's what the regulator is saying. And thank you also for that fear element. Once they see security guys, they think that there's something is wrong. And I don't know, maybe my next question would help in terms of is there a way?
Okay.
So this way that they have seen cybersecurity guys or information security guys or security guys in general, is there any way we have contributed to that, perception? And are there things that
Yes.
we can do to correct how they think we don't need to be in strategy session? Just make the decision and call them to come and say, we want to build an application, go and do a pen test. How have we contributed to that they don't see us as a business-minded professionals?
Okay. The truth is this. Thank you for that question. Okay, maybe in my days, all right, I don't know about now. I think it still happens now. One of the things we have seen is that cybersecurity tech people generally, they don't concern themselves with the business. They are always about the tools. They're always about what tools are we using, what technology is on ground, how can I, if you see, for example, a pen tester, who that's what he does. his only drive is to see how he wants to break into the organization's system, so to speak. He doesn't think about the business. He doesn't think about, okay, how does this, what is the implication of this to the business? That's one thing that is very important. So we're always looking at the tools, we're always looking at gadgets, we're looking at technology, and the business is beyond that. So that's one of the reasons why we have, one of the ways by which we have contributed to it. And another way we have contributed to it is that we don't know about the finances of the organization. You mentioned something that you went to check whether the company is listed. You probably check the financial record of the organization. How many cybersecurity professionals will do that? Many cybersecurity professionals, the first they will go and do is to go and look at the company website and see what loopholes are there, how they can hack it. What are the applications that are available on the internet or that they can go and hack? That's the first that comes to mind, and probably the only thing that comes to their mind all through. Now, another thing is this. There is this thing like, okay, because I was once an auditor, I still can audit, all right? There's this thing that we used to talk about in that association. I was part of ISACA association, still part of ISACA association. One of my first certifications was CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor. One of the things they taught us, or we began to learn, was value IT, all right? Of course, now I can say value IT security. One of the things we need to do is to be able to see how we can place value on information security. Value not just in terms of how important we are, value in terms of how much money we are saving for the organization. But many of us, we know how to talk the technical terms, we don't know how to talk the business. All right. I think there should be a course one of these days. Maybe I will be part of the people that will champion it, maybe in the near future. The business of cybersecurity, because there is a business side to cybersecurity that if you are a cybersecurity professional, you need to understand that business side. If you're a mix of the two, you will do so well in in the organization. But if you're just in one place, all you know is cybersecurity, they'll bring somebody else that understands the business to come and drive it, and then you'll be frustrated because you can't even speak to that person because you won't understand your language. I tell you, I've been in that particular position, and it was really frustrating. I can tell you for free. So that's another thing that you need to see. Another thing is that you see a cybersecurity person. I said the fear factor is always fighting the business. When you carry out a pen test now, you see a vulnerability and you are shouting, this one is critical, it's highly critical, you must remediate it. And meanwhile, when it comes to the order of things within the organization, maybe the asset where you are saying is highly critical, that asset is actually, not a critical asset. If anything happens to that asset now, I had a write-up on my page last week or 2 weeks ago that speaks a bit about this. All right, that talks about something, you come up with a pen test report, and then you feel that they must remediate immediately. But meanwhile, by the time you bring it under the bigger enterprise risk management framework, you see that it's actually a low risk because the asset is actually not so much of a big asset. It probably is not a mission critical, it's not a business critical asset, it's just one of the supporting assets. And you want them to remediate now or never. You see, then there becomes a clash. You begin to fight the fight you cannot win. And then another thing is that sometimes, as a cybersecurity people, we tend to work in silos, which is not right. We are part of a big picture. We're supposed to work with them, with the other team members, with the other members of the organization. We just want to be on our own space, just doing our own thing, and then just let reports speak for us. But that's not how to do it. We're supposed to be business enablers, not showstoppers. We're supposed to work with them, not just work in silo. If they see you as a cybersecurity person, in fact, for somebody to think for somebody to see you at first glance and think you're a cybersecurity person, I think it should be a problem. They should first of all see you as a business person before they see you as a cybersecurity person, because that will help them to channel their conversation. They can trust you to discuss their problems with you, and with that, you can help them find a suitable solution to that particular problem. All right. So those are the things that I feel that have caused this particular perspective that management has had for cybersecurity over the years. There are more, but these are the few I can actually talk about right now.
That's excellent, Kolade. I'm trying to check my note. I think you mentioned something, and you said cybersecurity is open to all when you were starting. And I'm trying to relate it with what you have just said. And Just on this same question, what do you think about cybersecurity professionals who is interested in the business? You are a cybersecurity professional, but you are now further interested in the business. And I'm also thinking that this is where the context of if you have a different background from the usual tech background is actually a plus for you in cybersecurity. What's your thought around that?
Yeah, true, true. Because if you have probably a business background, coming into cybersecurity, in fact, you have a leverage. Let me use this as an example. When I was doing my CSA, the first CSA I did, I studied on my own. I did my CSA twice. The second time I passed, the first time I didn't pass. And the reason I didn't pass the first time was because, of course, I was young, fresh from school, just maybe 1 or 2 years out of service experience and all of that, and so service experience rather. And then I was preparing for CSA. I studied, I read, in fact, I'm not too sure I'd read as much as that in years. I read, I studied, I did everything back to back. But I went to the exam, then they were still writing the exam with paper, pen and paper. We had to tick. Now everything is
Right.
computer based, but then it wasn't computer based. So I had to go somewhere, and then we were in the place and we wrote and all of that. But I didn't pass. By the time I came back, I now had to go and enroll in a school. Upon enrolling in a school, I wanted to think the way an auditor would think. And then I met some other people who were coming from the accounting sector. They knew the business and all of them were already chartered accountants. Some of them were already positioned in high places in the organization. So by the time they were coming, were writing the same exam again. Even though I passed, some people still score higher than me. Now, this is why they scored higher. By the time I investigated, they understood the business. So it was easy for them to relate whatever control they were examining us on based on how it impacts on the business. And that's exactly what they were looking for in the answers to the exam. So they will have like 40 different answers that look so alike. You, from the technical perspective, you quickly go and pick the control, while somebody will look at the control and see how it impacts on the business. So you see, so it's very interesting if you have had a business background. I wish I had, and then came to cybersecurity. I'm telling you, you have a leverage, and I tell you sincerely, because every other thing is online. The years of experience you have gained in business will help you to even, be able to value cybersecurity much more than somebody who has lived all his life as a technical person. Really, of course, that is not to say that anybody coming from technical background is disadvantaged. I'm just saying that you also now need to learn the business alongside the cybersecurity.
Thank you very much, because sometimes you have a very good report, but the report is not speaking to business. And as the
Exactly.
example you gave, which is a critical vulnerability, but it's impacting something that the business think is a waste of time. So
Yeah.
why are you killing an ant with a sledgehammer? Just let it focus on what is important. And you can't really know what is important if you are not in business meeting. If you don't
Yeah.
know how the customer is impacted or is affected, you just want to deploy control. So that's how you become a better cybersecurity or security professional, when you put the business first. In fact, the business is you can have a business without cybersecurity, but you cannot have a
Yeah.
cybersecurity without business, because there
Yeah.
must be a business before cybersecurity will be come and implement CIA. Thank you for that. Let me go to the next question. So, how then should we make management think about us? And what are the things you think henceforth we should be doing as cybersecurity professional?
Okay. I'll just say a few. Thank you for that question. What we should do, be a team player, first of all. Don't work in silo again. Be a team player. As a cybersecurity person, you are a teacher, you are a trainer, you are an advisor. You see, you should know that you are not on your own. You can't, don't, if you are not a people's person, I will advise you can't really grow. Let me put it that way. When it comes to cybersecurity, you need to learn to be a team player, be a people's person. You need to, we had said earlier, you need to understand other people's business. So it helps you to speak to their pain point. talk to everybody, relate with them, understand, go to other departments, other teams, hear them, understand them. By the time you are able to do that, what will give it will give you a leverage to be able, when you are talking security, you will see that you have many more people that are backing you. All right. Security is not what you alone can do, it's a collective effort. Another thing you can do is that you have to look at the bigger screen. Your screen alone, is not enough. Look at the bigger screen. The bigger screen is looking at it from the organizational perspective, not from just cybersecurity perspective. Now, of course, you need to understand the business of the business. What does your business do? The business you are in, you need to understand the business. You need to understand what they do. You need to understand how it impacts on whatever it is it impacts upon. And that will also help you. All right. Another thing you need to do is to always come back with reports on return on security investment. There is return on investment, ROI, but there is also a part that speaks to return on security investment, which is really particularly on security. You need to ensure that from time to time they have given you $5 million or 5 million naira, for example, just using this as an example, or let's say 100 million for depending on the size of the organization, 200 million, 500 million to invest in security for a year. After the year, do you come with a report that shows return on security investment? Are you able to interpret the attacks you have prevented into money, that you see the amount of money you have saved for the organization? Are you able to do that? Another thing is, when you are doing your risk, of course, as a cybersecurity person, I will advise you year on year, annually, you must do a risk assessment. When you are doing your risk assessment, are you doing it alone or you are doing it with the organization? Are you doing an enterprise risk assessment? If you do an enterprise risk assessment, it gives you a bigger picture. It helps you to understand it better. And by that, you see that you are contributing more. Not only contributing more, you are able to, they see you from a better light. Now, one of the things you need to also do is to ensure that you position yourself in a way that you make them see you as a business enabler, not a showstopper. You're supposed to be a business enabler. That means that if the management, they are planning to do something, when they see you, they say, "Oh, you have come. Thank God you came." And then they should be able to share with you. Not that he's coming to put fear in us. Let's change topic. You know, immediately you start seeing those signs that people don't want to talk to you, they don't want to relate with you. That becomes a problem. They should be willing to talk to you. And don't be acting, there's some ways you put up this kind of gesture that shows that there's a problem, a fire on the mountain. No, you must be ready to know how to talk, how to, relate things. No matter how bad it is, don't come and put fear in the heart of everybody. You should know how to manage the fear and see how you can, manage the entire situation such that it doesn't get blown out of proportion. All right. So those are the things you need to learn to do. Your managerial skill, your people management skill, your willingness to learn, attend management meetings as many as possible. All right. Attend other people's businesses as many as possible. Talk to the business, talk to the human resources, talk to everybody. Let them see you as a friend, not as a foe. By the time you do that, the perspective will gradually change depending on how much you're able to, get into them. And then before you know it, you will be their go-to person in any situation. They will just come and talk to you. We have a problem. What do you think? We have a problem. How do we navigate it? Not that, no, you cannot do it, and that's final. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. I'm laughing as you're talking. So I have a risk background. Jumped between security and risk and security. So in one of the organizations I worked before, they actually gave us a name as risk professional. They call us police. And they said that whenever they see us, they think something has gone wrong. That because we are like masquerade that they shouldn't see outside. Now, when they see us, they think, let's hide, because these guys, we don't know what they have come. And one way or the other, they are hiding information from the risk guys who should actually be able to help. I mean, it's how we have carried ourselves. People like that idea that I'm feared. But it's just like parents that the children are afraid of. He will think they're afraid of him and he's a superhero, but he's missing a lot of information that he's supposed to be aware of. But so we changed. We started doing some learning. In fact, we were attending a weekly meeting of the business. In their meetings, we will be there. So they are familiar with us. They became familiar with us almost on a weekly basis. And we will attend their strategy session. and contribute. They will say, oh, Risk, you are here. What do you think about this? But before, it wasn't like that. It was a case of, we are there, they are here. And I like the idea of the change your screen. It's not the SOC screen that is important. Change your screen to the organization screen, because that is where the money is coming from. The sustenance of the business is coming from there. Therefore, position cybersecurity to speak to that organization. Thank you very much for this. And my last question before I go. So if you have a question for Kolade, it could be on this topic or on thoughts on cybersecurity that you would like to hear his thought from. Kolade is very experienced, and as you can see, he mentors other young people. So if you have any question, please drop it in the chat and I will pick it after this last question. This last question is more like some people will be maybe someday they will have an opportunity to interview with you. So you are giving them an expo ahead of time. And it's around you want to hire a cybersecurity professional. And what are the top, you can give us more than 3 anyway, but what are the things you'll be looking for that this guy is able to display before you say, this is the person I'm hiring?
Okay. Like I said, I work with a whole lot of newbies, and as a result of that, irrespective of your certifications, yes, there are a lot of people that have certifications, but they don't have the knowledge of the job, right? Irrespective of the tools you have, there are several people that know the tools, but they don't know how to apply the tools and when to apply the tools. 3 things that are not necessarily related to what's it called now, the job, are the things I'm going to mention. The first one is curiosity. If you are not curious, you can't be a cybersecurity person, because a curious person is someone who is hungry for knowledge. The technological landscape is actually changing on a daily basis. It's dynamic. And so you must be willing to learn. You must be curious. You must be very, very curious. You must be ready to burn the midnight candles. Unfortunately, Nigeria has become so much better than how it used to be. We don't have, I mean, okay, maybe in some places it might not have been, it might not be necessarily like that, but there are other, there are other interventions, all right, where you have a rechargeable lamps and all of that. But be ready to burn the midnight candle, if you know what that means. Some of us use candles and lanterns and all of that. You must be ready to do that. Burn the midnight candles. Give yourself to it. I remember there were some times where I would have to stay back in the office all night trying to study, read, and all of that. Many of the things I learned today, they are self-taught. I had to spend time to study, understand them, and build, competence in all of those things. That's one. Number 2 will be you must be intelligent. A cybersecurity person should have intelligence. Why did I say so? Because many times cybersecurity is applied knowledge, so to speak. Because if you need to know the technology, and then knowing the technology, you now need to know how to apply security to that technology. If you're not intelligent enough, you will not know how to do it. You must know how to find your way out of every situation. All right. There is many times there is no one rule fits all in cybersecurity. You might be met with different situations. It has to do with the knowledge you've had here, gathered here. You now bring them together to be able to achieve this. All right. I was having a conversation, was it yesterday, with my team, and then somebody was giving me a report. I could not get this. And I said, but if you went to this place, gone to this place, you can add a report you got from here, add it to this place, add it to that place. Then you come up with the report you are looking for. And that's how you do it. You must have that intelligence. You must be able to think through things and see how to solve your problem. You see, as a cybersecurity personnel, that is very important. And then thirdly, are we looking out for? Now, this one just came in recently because of what we're talking about and because of what I have seen. There is a major shift in cybersecurity, and that shift is going towards tending towards your ability. That visibility is important. And for you to have that visibility, your presentation skills must be top notch. Your ability to speak, your ability to report, your ability to relate things, your ability to tell the right stories, they are very important. In fact, give me someone that has these 3 skills, that but does not know anything in cybersecurity, and leave that person with me for 6 months to 1 year. You will come back to meet someone who I can boast of anywhere, can start as a cybersecurity analyst, all right, in any organization. And I say that with my full chest. You have curiosity, you are intelligent, and you have ability. You have ability to present. You have presentation skills, very wonderful presentation skills. Anywhere you are in the world, for cybersecurity, is a place where I believe you will thrive with the right coaching, with the right mentoring, with the right people around you. I tell you that the sky is actually your limit.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you for your thoughts, and maybe I want to also, because I'm looking at our time, it's like we have about few minutes to go. I will read one of the questions in the chat, and maybe also to ask your thoughts around what do you think about people who want to come into cyber but are afraid of technology.
That's an interesting, that's a very tricky question. All right, there are different areas of cybersecurity. You can actually pick up from GRC. GRC does not have as much technicality as it were. You can do a lot of, but it has to do with documentation. All right, these three things I mentioned, irrespective of whichever field of security you are going into, these three things are very important, right? Curiosity, presentation, and intelligence, they are very important. So, but if you are not very good with technology, well, it's also a good place for you to get started with, and then you can grow into that. You can actually grow into other areas starting from that place. So that's not a problem.
Thank you very, very much. And okay, I have a question in the chat. I think you've wowed Oyewale so much, and he's asking, how can I enroll in your school, your mentorship school? How can it be your mentee?
Should that not be a question to you? You already run a cybersecurity mentoring group already.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not, so I don't know whether Oyewale is already, Sally is already part of our community, but if you are not, we have a LinkedIn platform where we have conversations, and also we have a WhatsApp platform. Although the WhatsApp platform is like an information board, I am the only one that's sharing information there because I don't want people to spam that uh, platform. So we have one, but I share opportunities and anything that would help you grow in cybersecurity. So if you are not already in that group, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can take it forward from there. I don't have any other question yet. Let me just, so I mentioned earlier that you can check on other sessions that we have had on our LinkedIn page. It is youtube.com/Wale Micaiah, and you can join our LinkedIn group. That's the LinkedIn group address on the screen. And thankfully, we've had 28th of June, 12th of July, and today, thanks to Kolade, 26th of July. Our next edition will be the 9th of August, and we'll be having another speaker to come share with us. We believe that getting thought from multiple people can help you navigate your path. And I'm grateful for how Kolade has spoken in a non-technical way today, and has also made cybersecurity appealing to people such that whatever your field is, you can think you have something to do in cybersecurity, and indeed, you do have something to do in cybersecurity. So, Kolade, thank you so much for your time on the call. I appreciate spending your weekend with us. And I would just, I can't find any other question in the chat, and I guess that the session is quite self-explanatory. I'm going to upload it latest by tomorrow if I don't do it this night, and you can go back and look at it again. Like I said, cybersecurity needs as much people as possible. And again, you don't have to wait until you get a cybersecurity role before you start thinking cyber. You can start it right now on your job. You can start it right now on your job. And I encourage you to join a community. Kolade mentioned the importance of being a part of a community because there's a lot that you can learn from other people. Some people are probably where you are today, and they would they can share thoughts on how they navigated their own path. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for your time, Kolade. We will catch up again on our usual LinkedIn platform. All right, everyone.
All right.
Thank you for this evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.